Do you struggle to know the differences between an NAA, Jubilee, a 600, and an 800 Ford tractor? My name is Rachel Gingell, and in this video, I'll show you the differences between those models. Now, the easiest difference right off the bat is to look at the rear axle. On an NAA or a Jubilee, you'll see that there's a nut in the rear axle here, similar to an 8N rear axle, and it has an 8-inch rear brake. On a 600 or an 800, this is a 600 beside me, then you can see that the inside here is smooth and it's a 10-inch rear brake. Now, you'll notice on mine that this has Ferguson centers. That's not correct, but for demonstration's sake here, we're just paying attention to the center of the axle there is smooth on a 600 as well as smooth on this 800 behind me. Now, a Jubilee and an NAA tractor are the exact same except for the medallion on the front of the hood. The Jubilee was made in '53 and it was called the Golden Jubilee, and the NAA was made in 1954. Now, if you have an NAA and you call it a Jubilee, it's really okay in my eyes. Many people do that, and both of those models are really commonly referred to and known as the Jubilee since all the parts interchange. Now, if you have a 600 or 800, some parts don't interchange, so it's really important to know what model tractor you have. The 600 tractors have a 134 cubic inch engine, and the 800 tractors have the 172 cubic inch engine. Now, you can see that the 600 and the 800, if you're standing right here, they look really similar, and it can be hard for people to know what model they have. Now, there's a number up at the front that, or in the middle of the tractor that you can read, but sometimes that's not legible. In the back of the tractor, this transmission housing, sometimes called the pig, is smaller on the 600. If I just put my tape measure out like this, I see that this just roughly measures about 14 inches on the 600. On the 800, it's closer to 18 inches. That's much bigger on the 800. And since it had the bigger engine, it needed the bigger transmission, more power in those tractors. Now, if you come over here and you read this number, you can see that the very first number on the tractor, there's a 3-digit number here. Beneath it is the serial number. So you're looking at the 3-digit number on the top. The first number is the series number. You'll see 6, 7, 8, 9. Sometimes you'll see a 5. And then the second number refers to what kind of transmission it has. If you see a 4, it means that you have a 4-speed transmission. If you see a 5, it means you have a 5-speed transmission. A 6 would mean that you have a 5-speed with live power. A 7 stands for a selecto speed. The 8 stands for a selecto speed with dual PTO. In rare cases, you'll see the number 2 or 3 there. A 2 is a bareback, meaning it has no PTO and no 3-point hitch, and the 3 only had 3-point hitch without PTO. The 2 and the 3, both had the 4-speed transmissions. The 4-speed transmission was also in the Jubilee and NAA as well. So that's the second number, signifies what transmission and PTO hydraulic setup that it has. Now, sometimes you will see a third number being either a 0 or a 1. Ford used the 0 through 1957. In the last month of 57 for a 58 release, they started adding a 1. They also called the tractors a Workmaster if it was equipped with the 134 engine, or a Powermaster if it was equipped with the 172 engine. On the 800 tractors, they also updated the grille to be the eggshell version, which isn't as common as the standard slatted version that you see oftentimes on the Jubilee, the 600, and the 800. Now, you also need to know that Ford did make both a 700, a 900, and a 500 series tractors. The 500 tractors were offset, and they're kind of rare. Sometimes you'll see a 7 or a 900, and those came standard with a tricycle front end and also power steering on those models. Again, those designations for the second numbers carry through and match for the 700 and 900 series. I hope that this video is helpful to you to determine what model Ford tractor you have.